So this financialization creates this mirage that makes for good headlines as we've recovered, everything is fine, but the real economy hasn't really recovered.
And it's hard to connect the dots, right? Because, you know, if you're just a layperson or you don't spend all your time like Emil and I do, deep in the weeds, how would you know the difference? I mean, there are some simple cues that you can go off of, but really, if you don't see it on the, you know, you don't see it on priced on the internet someplace, if you don't see it on CNBC, you don't see it in some kind of data report, you know, you don't really realize that what we're left with is an economy that's being deprived of its vitality from lack of liquidity, especially since the stuff that you do see kind of makes you think that there's ample liquidity. Like the Federal Reserve balance sheet and bank reserves. If all you look at is bank reserves, you think, oh my God, the world's got so many dollars. It's inflationary. It's highly inflationary. You don't see the monetary destruction that took place in the shadows of this credit stuff, this collateral stuff, balance sheet constraints, all these other. You don't see that stuff, and you focus on the stuff you do. You get a very different picture from reality.
So hold on, Richard. I just want to. It strikes me that because of the existence of the global Eurodollar system, in fact, the global banking system is one large global bank that is connected via, I think the most recent BIS reading was a little over $700 trillion in global, effectively interest rate swaps, right? I mean, so there's no way to sort of, a run on the banking system is now a run on the global Eurodollar system, the global collateral system. And so I think that is a good setup for the question I think, Richard, you wanted to ask about. So in the current Eurodollar.
Before we get there, Adam, how has the toolkit of central banks, or particularly of the Fed, which is the 700-pound gorilla in the room, changed, other than what everyone knows, which is the quantitative easing, the expansion of balance sheets? Have there been any improvements in their toolkit that might have been able to address what happened in 07, 08 better?
Well, they have added several tools. I wouldn't say they're effective. They think they're effective. One of them is FIMA, F-I-M-A, which tried to address what happened in March 2020, which March 2020 should have been another warning sign that these people have no idea what they're doing. And that's a whole other can of worms. But essentially, they have addressed some of the, at least they think they have addressed, and they've attempted to address some additional shortfalls, things like repo, treasuries, off the runs, that kind of stuff. But in my estimation, it's not really anything different than the PDCF 15 years ago, or the overseas dollar swaps that they used that never worked in the first financial crisis. So they realize it's not really being effective, and they continue to experiment. But as I said before, and I like how you brought up the global derivative situation, because the first thing you should ask with that, why are there 700 trillion in gross notional interest rate swaps out there? What are these things being used for? And the answer is balance sheet constraints and management. These are banks using these tools to be able to create and manage risks on their balance sheet, to create credit, to create balance sheet expansion. And guys, what are you going to see when you look at global derivatives? You're going to see parabolic rise until 2007 and then sideways thereafter. Because if you're not expanding your balance sheet, what do you need more derivatives for? So it's another indication that the system has changed over the last 15 years in a categorical way, where banks are not creating money, they're not creating credit, so they don't need more derivatives. They don't need more of any of these. They don't need the Fed. They don't need any of these other things, and it's harming everybody in ways that we maybe don't really appreciate, at least not evidently and openly.